welcome to Koumei. Anyone else knows in Capture now, if you equip the synthesis scanner, you don't get your default animations, so there's no way to actually have them anymore, because the synthesis scanner HUD stays on the screen, even if you go into the panel special mode. I'm gonna try and figure out where to put that feedback on the DE forum. If you go find it, but I'll let you know. But yes, this is Koumei. She is the RNG Warframe. This is going to be a guide video. I'm going to be hesitant to call it a build video for reasons that should become clear, but let's hop over to the simulacrum and dive into it. Right, so here we are. Not in our usual simulacrum, but essentially I want to use a simulacrum that is optimal to show Koumei. Also, I need to turn my companion off. He has no actual benefit to this build other than boosting my gun anyways. So yeah, Koumei's down in the bottom right. You can see Koumei's dice. That's her big gimmick. The little circle next to it, she's currently buffing my melee weapon to deal random status chance. One thing I was fascinated with was the Gotfa Prime, using that to kind of force it to produce status procs. As far as I can tell, that doesn't trigger the Gotfa's passive, though. It's like an additional thing rather than actually doubling the weapon's status chance or something weird like that. And it didn't quite work out, because otherwise I'd have basically a permanent red status, red crits, when I got that buff, and that definitely was not happening. Just respawn that guy. So yeah, that's her passive. She adds bonus statuses to your weapons and cycles between them every so often. As passives go, it's fine. It doesn't limit itself to weapons you actually have equipped, so there's no way to force it to be on your current weapon. Right now it's on the rifle. So yeah, if I shoot this guy, you'll see he's suddenly getting a bunch of random statuses. That is probably the most powerful part, in my opinion, of Koumei's entire kit. When it happens to land on the weapon you want to use, it's a very good condition overload primer. You'll notice we're spawning level 100. We are not using Steel Path. Koumei's 1. You get a whole pile of these strings. Each of these strings will inflict a single status. You can see these dudes. This guy somehow got hit by more than one, which is a very rare occasion. Oh no, he's only in the radiation string. This one has been knocked out of the string. See how many of them are not actually being touched by the strings. The strings have very precision hitboxes. The more vertical they get, the worse off you are, of course, which is also random and not controllable in any way I've been able to determine. You can see it's not really doing anything to these level 100 enemies. This Lancer at the back is maybe a quarter dead after throwing 2 of these things at them. The damage they do is slightly modified by power strength, but primarily boosted by the number you roll in your dice, which is 15. Let me see if I can get a decent roll. No, that's another 15, 17, 22. You can see we still haven't managed to kill anything after like 5 casts. So yeah, the bulk of this is going to be crowd control. There's a reasonably high possibility that you can set up a choke point, and one of these will be like cold or electric or radiation and give you some crowd control or even heat. You aren't going to get a lot of damage out of that, though, I'll tell you that. Koumei's second ability, she calls up a little decree here. Kill an enemy inflicted with heat status. Hopefully my gun has heat status. I think this gun might have more heat status. There we go. Then you'll see we get a decree over there from Deviri. It's not the entire Deviri pool. They're very picky and choosy. That's actually one of the better ones we could get quite often. The one I keep getting consistently, like it's trolling me or something, is finishers give you ability power on a single ability cast. See, this one's actually cool because everyone gets toxin when I headshot someone. That and I think the one that gives you a bonus corrosive proc is the best overall you can possibly get of the ones I've seen. So I can cast that again. We'll dismiss this by holding it. You can see down there I got a cooldown. It's 9 seconds so I can try a decree again. That's going to keep going up and caps eventually at 2.5 minutes. Between it sometimes giving you decrees that are impossible to... Like this, I don't think I have a weapon that's doing electric status, so I'd have to try and hope Koumei inflicts it and then kill them. Other favorites is when it gives you a decree to do wall latch kills in the middle of the plains of Eidolon. Stuff like that. Typically, if you are within what I'd call a normal Warframe mission, we'll say a round or two of defense or an exterminate or whatever, you'll be lucky to crack 3 decrees. Unless you're hard focusing on them. Also note, you know how it said kill? That doesn't mean kill or assist. It means kill. You must kill. And that means you, not your sentinel, not your teammates, not your Kubro. You. I haven't totally been able to tell if it counts like passive damage from status properly or not. Like eventually if I throw enough stuff down here, this should theoretically kill something. It has electric status, but you can kind of tell I've run out of energy. Moving on, her 3, I'm going to pull up the description of her 3 because you won't actually see it doing anything. Most likely. 50% block chance cannot be modified. Heal multiplier doesn't really matter. I'm not actually even sure what the recast count is, to be honest with you. So when you cast this, there's a 50% chance that an enemy will heal you instead of hurting you. Should that effect actually trigger, it will then go on to a cooldown. So we'll turn on their AI here. Yeah, I just got healed, so now it's on a little 3-second cooldown. You can actually see here, even with adaptation, this is not keeping up with the damage I'm taking from these relatively unthreatening enemies. Now, you shouldn't sit like that in the middle of a bunch of enemies, but I was giving an idea, because if the theory is she's supposed to be using that to tank, you know I could sit in the middle of that with Rhino or Grendel or Atlas or Neros or some of the shield combos, even Caliban, and probably not die anywhere near that quickly. And that was with adaptation on, which I don't even usually run. Our 4th ability, kind of duping up on the effect of her first. It's just a forward cone that dumps a bunch of random status on there. The enemies take as many status procs as you roll on the dice down there. So they all got 17 procs. This unlucky dude took 17 straight status slash procs, which is an interesting quirk of the random, but yeah, you can see even that one didn't manage to kill some of the weaker level 100 enemies because they didn't get the right statuses on them. Almost, that's probably what I would try and build her around, because there's nothing else you can really mod. Even that one's a little iffy. Now we rolled the 666 there, so they got, I think, every status or something. Let me double check what that one does when you do that. Further effects over time, and also shoots behind you. And we got 29 status effects, so that's a big roll. So yeah, the 4 is the good one. If you're wondering, the 666s should be 3.5% roughly chance to roll, but Pablo actually replied to a tweet. They fake the numbers to make it feel slightly better, and it's like 11%. That said, the other half of something being 11% is it's got a 90% chance to do the other thing. And the other thing is not great. Her 3 turns are invulnerable on the 666. I forgot to mention that. And on the decree, it just skips the challenge part. That's kind of where my problem lies. The RNG, rather than, hey, it does this effect if you roll this, does this effect if you roll this, and keeping kind of a stable power level. If I were to draw a bar graph, the 10% of the time she's all right. Like even that Super 4 I landed, I could do that with Lavos or Varuna, probably a few others. And have almost the same power. Certainly for an ultimate, there's other ones I could use that would be significantly stronger and not in a cone. Yeah, her 1, throwing the thing forward. The amount of things I could do that have the same general effect, but would give me desirable status effects and more than 1 per enemy on average, is a pretty extensive list. I started trying to list it and I got up to like 40 and stopped. And kind of what I said, we'll go look at the build. She doesn't scale off anything. All her scaling comes from the dice number being rolled, essentially, and there's no way to modify the dice number. You can see we got very low damage here. Overall, 34 times 75 on 5 dice, rolling all 6s. That would be 900. This one here the damage doesn't scale off the dice, but you can see we got Precision, Intensify, and Augur Secrets loaded in there, and it's still only like 1,000 on an ultimate. Remember how I said Caliban's ultimate's not really for killing things? His does like 10, 12,000. Yeah, this one, the amount they heal you by shooting you scales, but if they are healing you, you usually max out immediately because that's how overtuned enemy damage is, more or less. This one, nothing scales at all as far as I can tell, other than efficiency. Amara's Hatred, actually, we got extra. Yeah, base stats, she's a modest health tank. Running about 1600 EHP, that's about the same as an unmodded Volt, even with our armor mod and our vitality mod here. And yeah, no DR armor buff. You can probably get something in the decrees, but that's massively random. There's 45 different decrees you can get. Don't bank on getting any specific decree. I don't know what more there is to say. Like I said, I'm not calling this build video because this is what I slapped on to sort of try and use her for to kill things, which kind of semi maybe works. Vitality stretch gives you energy. Vitality occasionally gives you the extra heat proc. This occasionally gives you the extra corrosive proc if you happen to deal the right statuses. That's the only reason for those to be in there. You could go in and throw flow and get the cold for the whole set, but yeah. The problem is for 10%, she's kind of good, but still not. She's not jumping out like super powerful. Like the super mega version of this that deals, I don't know, 60 statuses. That's very nice. The problem is if I have to cast that 10 times on average to get that version, how I eloquently worded it elsewhere was she basically has built-in passive that she has negative 90% efficiency and a slightly negative casting speed because you have to cast something 10 times to get the roll. I think you... And yeah, if you start spam casting, you probably will miss that you got the roll, like I just did there, and then cast on top of it. There's the actual full roll. You get the white ones that deal at one of every status. Yeah, like I don't want to crap on the Warframe, but I don't see how you make this something you would actually want to pick. You'll get your clip farm or whatever whenever that 1 in 10 chance goes off, but you can't actually do it practically. And yeah, you got a modest amount of health. You can try and get some decrees. Maybe will make you better. Whatever. By the time you fiddle around with that, your teammates have probably finished the mission if you're playing as squad. I got nothing. I'm the guy who can play Loki with a Braden on the steel path and kill Xmas. Or Limbo with a Braden on the steel path and handle Xmas fine. I have a Loki build video. I'm totally okay with Nyx. Caliban, I got him to work and be what I would call it considered good, maybe not great before the rework, and have a Caliban video after the rework too. Same with old Daenerys to some extent. And old Hydroid. I don't get it. Like, the way I would fix this Warframe, I guess, would be rather than having the other role be a massive downgrade in power, because if there's if an average Warframe is here, then 90% of the time Koumei is maybe down here, like a 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10 at best, and then 10% of the time she maybe gets to an 8, we'll say. So you could have the 6s, have them be really powerful. I'd argue that for anything except maybe the 4, the 666 needs to be even more powerful than it is. The other thing with the Soma Mori thing is it doesn't last very long. Was the first thing I noticed too. For what's meant to be your main defense buff. Comparing that to like this duration actually is based on the dice roll, I think. I'm a little confused with that ability. I just know that it does not work very well in practical testing. But yeah, have the super stuff be super, but you need to have the not super stuff ideally be more diverse. Like, if you're going to go random, go random. Have 1 rolls cold, 2 rolls toxin, 3 rolls electric, 4 rolls heat, 5 rolls a random combined element, 6 rolls all of them together. And you really gotta bring that baseline up. Like, her baseline should be at most a tiny bit below a regular Warframe. She shouldn't be massively downgraded by the low roll versus the high roll, or the high roll has to become a much higher percentage. Because, yeah, on the bar graph, she's like... Then... Oh, suddenly roll... Visual demonstration. And as a new player frame, I think it's just weird because she doesn't feel correct. The new player's not going to understand how all the odd interactions with her dice and everything are going at all, I don't think, and they'll be utterly confused by the fact that they put mods on her and they don't seem to do anything. The other more obvious but simple fix is just have strength boost the dice rolls. 200% strength doubles your dice rolls. So your 2s become 4s, your 3s become 6s, your 5s becomes, like, bump them up 1 or something. Then basically at 500% strength, which is the extreme upper end that you can really permanently keep a Warframe at with some heavy investment. 500% strength, she would just always roll 6s. Which in itself might kill the theme of the frame, but that's probably what you'd have to do to really get much out of this kit. I've looked around at other creators as well. Brozim, who I often will say have different takes on Warframes than him, he had the same thing. Tactical Potato, another one I follow, of course. He kind of noted the RNG, and you had to be in a really long mission to get the decrees to pop off. Most of the other videos I've seen, they're, yeah, if you get this decree and this decree and this decree and this decree, your turret will do 8 billion damage, and who cares, to be honest? The enemies have 500,000 hit points, give or take, at the top end of relevant gameplay outside of the endurance niche. And the time you spend getting there and trying to survive with Koumei, obviously you can just shield gate by spamming stuff like any other Warframe. I think you got a lot better options for it. What on earth was that noise? Silly neighbors. But yeah, I guess this is a thoughts/guide video. I'm not even going to try and attach a full mission onto the end of the game because I can do it, but I will just utterly be annoyed by it. Check out the links down below. Of course, we got other Warframe builds in a playlist. We have the Caliban and Nova reworks. And let me know, throw in a comment if you've got the secret sauce to make the Koumei really pop off, other than throwing your 4 madly at people, or any other ideas like that. And we will see y'all in the next one. Have a good one.